What is it that you need to traverse the journey for a successful admission? This is something which is going to throw a lot of light this session. So please be careful. Please note down your queries just in case you have. And, I would be more than happy to answer those queries at a later point in time. However, keep your pen and paper handy because a lot of information is going to flow into you in this section. So, be able to get into a university overseas, I have divided into 3 important tasks. First task being the course and university selection. Second being understanding the requirements in detail. And third is the application process itself. Now we'll go into detail into each of these, but the difference is the first section deals into what is it that you need to do to be able to arrive at the right decision as to which university and which courses should you be applying to. The second is that understand the requirements, since each college, university, or even the province in which the university is located, the country, would have a major impact on the requirements that they may have and the application process itself. All right. Depending upon the country, the course, the college, the university that you have selected, the application process may differ. So it's very important that you have certain clarity on these 3 elements, which are going to be critical into your journey to a successful admission into an overseas university. So let us look at these one by one. Here we go. First and foremost, the course and university selection, right? Okay. First is going to be the focus on how to go about selecting a country, right? What are the elements that you need to look into while selecting the country? While you can see employment opportunities over here as one of the factors that is going to be a critical decision point, there is one thing which I would like to say, that before we further dwell into it, that for a successful application process to be able to successfully arrive at these decisions, which we had seen in the earlier screen, what you need is right research. So there are 3 things that you may need to be able to arrive at the right decision on all these 3 elements. The first being research, second being research, and third again being research. When you talk about research, it's very important that you surf only the authenticated websites. Go and look at the college sites, university sites, check the sites ranking on which you are checking all this information, check as to what is the kind of footfall which this website has and from various countries, because these are the things that are going to give you an insight about the authenticity of that website. A lot of information is available, and more or less than often people do get more confused rather than having any clarity. So it's important that you do your research properly. Take note. Every time you do research, take a note of it. If you are surfing multiple sites or you are getting information from multiple mediums, compare those before you actually conclude. So the first is going to be that you got to research and take notes. Second is that you need to compare. And third, you assimilate all this information and then arrive at a conclusion, right? So with this in background, now I'm going to take you through the requirements that you should be looking at before arriving at a decision. So when we talk about country, the first important thing is the employment opportunities. So what do we understand by employment opportunities? Uh, it's that what kind of employments are being generated, and what is the futuristic employment opportunities, because today we live in a world which is pretty dynamic, and the scope and the landscape of employment is changing pretty fast, right? So this is something which is very, very important that you got to look into before deciding on the country. Cost of living, of course, the cost makes a very, very important impact on the decision. So the cost of living is something that you got to look into it. Now, when we say the cost of living could vary from country to country. So if you are evaluating multiple countries, again, take down the data. Very important that each country, what is it that you are going to pay as your cost? Now, within the country also, there could be areas that could be comparatively cheaper than the other. Just to cite an example for a little more clarity, New York and New Jersey are adjacent, like they are Delhi NCR, Delhi and Ghaziabad, or Delhi and Noida. However, the cost of living and even the fee of the colleges differ in New York and New Jersey, for the simple reason because the overall costs in New Jersey are cheaper than New York. New York is a more expensive city, right? It's like Mumbai and Navi Mumbai. So these are also the elements that you could possibly look at while you are researching for the country that you are, and within the country, where is it that you would wish to apply? Okay, per capita income. This is something which is an important element, because per capita income is one of the indicators that can help you guide to the employment opportunities, or the kind of ROI, to calculate the kind of ROI that you would be getting on the money that you are going to invest into your education. Now, duration of the undergraduation course also varies from a country to another. There are countries who are offering 3 years, and there are countries who have mandatory 4 years of undergraduation. Now, it may impact your cost. So could be one of the elements that you could consider while arriving at a decision as to which country you would wish to go to. For example, UK has a 3-year undergraduation course. However, US or Canada have 4 years, right? Another thing that you could possibly look at is what are the chances of getting a scholarship. Now, when we talk about scholarships, there are certain colleges or universities that are looking at extending scholarships, and these scholarships could negate the duration factor. So if you are able to get a scholarship, say in US, so the cost of overall undergraduate course may be the same. So that could be one of the factors. Another factor is the safety. The area that you are staying in, the country that you are traveling to, has to be safe, because this is one of the most important factors that most of the parents have asked me while coming to me for an admission of their kid. How safe is that place? How safe is that country? How safe is that campus? Now, this is something which is very important. And how could you do a research on safety? Fortunately, we live in an era wherein the data is available to us in abundance. Any kind of data, you need to punch in the right keywords, you need to know the right way to research, and the data would be available for that city, for that country, even for that university. Go and check out the university itself, the university's website. A lot of information would be available over there itself. Then what are these payback options? Of course, when one is studying, they would be wanting to stay back and look out for job opportunities. So what is it which is available to you? Now, each country would have a different parameter for each of the courses. Now, this could vary depending upon the country, the course, the duration of the course. The stayback option could be different. Till about a year back, UK had only a 4-month stayback option. However, they increased it to 6 months, and in past few months, they have again brought it back to 2 years. So you could stay back for 2 years. Like in Canada, if you are taking a diploma course or a undergraduation course, a STEM course would have a larger opportunity to stay back option. Larger window would be available. However, some other courses may have a smaller duration, right? So stayback option is one of the key factors that you should be actually looking at. Travel time, while I do not agree to this kind of selection criteria, however, there have been parents who keep this into consideration, that Singapore or maybe UK or Europe is closer in comparison to US, Canada, or Australia. So they would prefer their ward to be going to these countries. However, my opinion, personal opinion, could be different, but this is one of the factors. And in case the parents are looking at this into as consideration, please take it into account. Now, how to go about selecting the right course for yourself? Course selection can be quite tricky and quite daunting too. Let's look at what are the factors that you should be looking into. Your short-term and long-term career objectives. What is it that you wish to do? Are you looking at getting into a job immediately after your graduation? Or are you looking at doing a master's course before considering to be employed? What is it that you are wanting to study? Whether you are wanting to study computer science, whether you're wanting to study liberal arts, business, so on and so forth, math. Are you wanting to get into research oriented courses, so on and so forth? So this is something which is very, very important for you to be considering. What is it that you wish to do in short term? What are your long-term career objectives? Based on these factors, should you be actually looking at and going to work backwards, selecting the right course for yourself? What are the master's options? If you have completed the course over there, would you be permitted to continue, or what kind of master options are available for you? Because today the master's courses are as dynamic as the virtual world today. The master's courses are also changing at a very, very fast pace. So what are the options that would be available to you? And would you be interested and keen on taking on those master courses in the same country, or possibly you would want to get admitted to a different country? So these are the considerations that you have to take. Employability, critical and important factor. Now, if you are looking at, because there have been students who I have sent overseas to even study sports. There have been students who have gone abroad to study liberal arts. to study languages. Now, while going overseas and studying, the choice that you have in terms of subject and courses is one thing. However, what is the employability? Uh, Can you get into a job overseas if you are studying sports? Yes or no? That's something which you need to figure out before you actually start applying to any of these universities or colleges. What is the course duration? Because a shorter duration may not give you an undergraduate degree. There are many courses which are available today, which are of short duration, about a year and a half, even 2 years, but they may not carry the same value as an undergraduation degree would be. However, as I mentioned earlier, that what are your long-term and short-term objectives? What is it that you are looking at? What is it that you wish to do? Because there would be certain courses that may suit you. Even a shorter duration would help you get employable, right? So the course duration makes a very important part of your selection process. Also, the course, the duration of the course is going to have a direct impact on the money that you would be investing into your education. Again, as I had mentioned earlier, each course may have a different stayback option. It just not depends upon a particular country, but the kind of education that you are taking, the kind of course that you are taking would also have an impact on the stayback option that would be available to you. Now, coming to university selection, how do we go about selecting the right university? What is the university ranking? Important. Indeed, it is. So when we say ranking, it would be global and within that country. Check it out. What is the course ranking? Not all universities that may be ranking high would have a higher course ranking as well. For example, somebody who's looking at studying, say, psychology, there is no point getting into MIT. MIT is the topmost university for engineering in the world today. However, the psychology courses do not rank as high. So this is something which is an important and critical part. Check out on the university ranking, check out on the course ranking, check out on specific university requirements, because each university may want something and you need to check out that do you fulfill those requirements. For example, some universities may need a minimum of 75% in your 12th graduation, in your 12th grad, right? Or maybe 80%, or maybe 85%. Some universities may have, while an overall, we know that IELTS score about 6.5 is good to go. But in certain universities and certain specific courses, they may ask for some specific IELTS score. There may be certain tests which may be required by certain universities, right? Uh, Not just SAT, ACT, IELTS, and TOEFL. There are certain other tests as well. For example, if you go and apply to universities like Oxford or university like Cambridge, they have their own internal evaluation process system. So you will have to go through that test as well, other than IELTS. So what are the dates? When to apply? How to prepare for them? These are something which are very important factors that you should ideally be taking a note of, right? Then certain universities may close their admission by a certain date. And the sooner you apply, the better it is. Okay. right? What are the timelines? What time do we, what are the timelines? What are the dates that have been suggested by the university that we need to meet? So this is something which is very important. Many a times I have seen that the people uh, who do it themselves miss out on these critical aspects, and the timelines are missed completely, right? Research work in your domain. This is something which will also help you understand that which university should you ideally be going to. Is the research work, whatever you are wanting to study, pick up the subject as a career, is the university doing some research work in that domain? If yes, then that could be the go-to university. Because a university which is not investing into the research would mean that the university course that you are studying is going to get redundant over a short period of time. There is host of work which is happening in all subjects, including music, including dance, including languages, and of course, I mean, I do not need to really tell you about the science in other domains as well. A lot of research work is happening. So what is it? Is the university undertaking a research work? Do they have patents in that particular subject? That's another indicator that yes, they are going to continue to invest into these subjects, right? So these are the things that ideally you should be doing to be able to select the course and university. One important, last but not the least, what are the kind of profiles that these university has been admitting, because that's going to give you a lot of insight whether you would be able to get an admission into those universities or not. Otherwise, what would happen is that you would continue to apply to 10, 15, 20 universities and may not be able to get admission. So this is something which is important uh, that you should be looking at. Okay. Now, of course, the university infrastructure plays a very, very important role.